Hi, everyone. Welcome to our presentation on funding your education. My name is Hannah Famry, and I'm an admissions counselor at the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay.
Hi everyone, my name is Bridget Durkee and I'm an admissions counselor at UW Green Bay.
We are super excited to have you guys today. So let's just jump right in to talk about funding your education. A couple of things we wanted to discuss first. This is just a little bit about who we are at UW Green Bay, just so you know. We are actually 4 campuses, but 1 university. So we have locations in Marinette, Green Bay, Manitowoc, and Sheboygan, and we are super proud that we're able to offer associate's degrees and bachelor's degrees at all locations, and even master's and a doctoral program here at the UW Green Bay campus. So we have 4 locations, and we're able to serve 16 counties in Northeast Wisconsin. So if you ever see any of these locations, just know they are all UW Green Bay, but different locations. This too is you can attend any campus and you just switch campuses if you want to change where you're going. You don't actually have to transfer. So really it just means more opportunities for more students in more locations of our state. And again, before we jump into funding our education and everything you need to know about that, we wanted to talk just a little bit more about who we are at UW Green Bay and 5 reasons that students choose Green Bay. Before I get into all those reasons, if you're interested in learning more about who we are at UW Green Bay, have any specific questions for us, feel free to scan this QR code here on the slide. That will give us your information, and then we can reach out to you and have a conversation if you would like. So why do students pick UW Green Bay? Number 1, access. Like I mentioned before, we served 16 counties in Northeast Wisconsin. And so with our additional locations now offering a couple of bachelor degree options, students are able to stay local to their community if they would like. We're small, so our average classes range from 15 to 30 students on average, depending what campus you're on. And this really allows you to get to know your teachers and have them get to know you. Number 3, opportunities. So talking more specifically about Green Bay is the 3rd largest city in the state of Wisconsin. Because of this, there are a lot of companies that we partner with for internships and research. Also, our additional locations have other large companies like Marinette Marine, Acuity, so there are tons of different industries across all regions that we have our locations that you can reap those benefits and have really cool hands-on experiences. Number 4, natural beauty. So 3 out of our 4 campuses are located right on Lake Michigan or the Bay of Green Bay, and Sheboygan is still located on a large wooded terrain. So the campuses are beautiful, they're peaceful, and surrounded by trees and water, and anything you could want from the natural world. And then number 5, we are super affordable, especially when you compare us with other colleges and universities. So tuition ranges from between, to give a number here, $5,256 up to about $7,878, give or take, per year for tuition. And then keep in mind, of course, there are other costs like housing and meal plans, but overall, in the grand scheme of colleges and universities, we are pretty affordable.
Oops. Awesome. Thanks, Anna. So we are going to break down financial aid for you today. So the agenda that we are going to cover is talking about financial aid basics. We're going to also cover types of aid. We will be talking about financing options, and then we're going to give you some time for some questions too. So first of all, what is FAFSA? So the FAFSA is the application that you fill out every year to be considered for financial aid. It stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. So free means you don't pay for it. So be sure that you are on the FAFSA website in order to go ahead and apply for the FAFSA. Does the FAFSA need to be filled out every year? It does. And you can fill out the FAFSA starting in October of every year is when you can fill out the FAFSA.
Awesome. Thanks, Bridget. So what is the goal of financial aid and the FAFSA? What's the point of it all? To help students pay for college. It really increases access to college. And the biggest thing to keep in mind is it's meant to help bridge the gap between what a family can pay for college and the cost of education. So when you guys are filling out this application for federal aid, the FAFSA, we're going to refer to that a lot. The FAFSA assumes that your family is going to be able to help with some of your college costs. So keep that in mind. And the whole purpose of the FAFSA is, okay, what additional resources could the federal government help you with in addition to what your parents are able to help you with for college? More about what is the FAFSA exactly. So it's a form that collects student and your family's demographics and financial information. And a big piece of the FAFSA is your financial and your tax information. So it's going to want to know, what is your family size? How many students are in college in your family? Are some of your siblings in college at the same time? What about your income? Another really interesting piece that we'll talk about later is that the FAFSA requires you to submit tax information from 2 years ago. So if you're filling out the FAFSA for the 2020-2021 school year, for example, it's going to want your tax information from 2018. So just keep that in mind. It wants 2 years prior tax information, and it opens on October 1st each year. So when you guys are seniors in high school, and you might be now, you can already fill that out October 1st of your senior year of high school to get ready for your freshman year of college the next year. So you can fill it out pretty early. And then what exactly are you applying for when you fill out the FAFSA? So there are 3 main things, and they all fall under the umbrella of federal student aid. The first would be grants, and grants, you guys, you do not have to pay them back, so that's awesome if you get some grants. Loans, you're applying for loans, which you would have to pay back if you take out student loans. And then also work study, which we're going to talk a lot more about later. There are different types of federal grants, there are state grants, and you're not going to know if you're eligible for that money. And again, grants do not have to pay them back. You're not going to know you're eligible for that unless you file a FAFSA. The FAFSA may also be used for institutional financial aid and scholarships. It all kind of depends from different college to college, university to university, but it is a great way to, for a college or a university to see your eligibility for other scholarships or aid that they might offer in-house. Let's talk a little bit about the cost of college and what's all involved with that. So there's a lot of things to consider, and it really depends on if you are going to be living on campus, if you, transportation. So looking at the slide here, you have room and board, and basically that means living on campus and eating on campus, all falling under tuition, of course, because if you're looking at attending college, you will pay tuition as well. So then there's room and board, living on campus, eating. Transportation, that's not really a direct cost, but it's something that, the FAFSA is going to expect that you're going to be paying for too, whether you're visiting home or friends in another city, or just running errands around the city where you end up going to college, but there's going to be some transportation costs to expect. Books and supplies, that you're going to need to probably buy or rent some textbooks, get them used, maybe other supplies, maybe art supplies, or if you're in an engineering course, they might require you to buy some extra supplies too. And then there's this category, miscellaneous living expenses. That's just other stuff, fun money, going to the movies, other things that the FAFSA is expecting you will do as a college student that might not be a direct cost. So when you add all of those things up together, you get an estimated cost of attendance, or COA. And again, you guys, this isn't necessarily a direct cost, but we want to try and give an estimate as to what your college experience is going to cost total, not just for tuition. How is financial aid determined exactly? The amount that you're offered, because you hear about this, getting your offer letter, getting offered money to help you with school. Basically what the FAFSA does with your information, they are going to take the cost of attendance at the schools that you applied for financial aid for, subtract what they think your estimated family contribution is, which we'll get to in a minute, and then that determines your financial need. So that's why your need is going to be different from school to school, because different schools have different costs of attendance. Some schools have a lot higher tuition. Maybe it's way more expensive to live on campus. Maybe they require you to live on campus, so that ups the cost of attendance, which would change what your financial need is. So again, each school is going to give you a different offer letter, a separate one. It's not like one offer letter at one school is good for many different universities. If you're applying to different schools, they will each give you an offer letter. And again, your need is going to be different from school to school. So what exactly is the estimated family contribution that I mentioned? So this is a number that's established by Congress, and basically the expected family contribution is an amount that a family can reasonably be expected to contribute, but it's not the actual number, the actual dollar amount that you're going to pay for college. So essentially, again, the estimated family contribution says, hey, you could reasonably, we could reasonably expect you to pay this amount, but it's not necessarily the exact amount that you're going to be paying. And it's just an index number that's used to calculate your eligibility for financial aid. This number, though, unlike the cost of attendance, this number is going to stay the same regardless of your college or university that you apply to, because it's all based on you. It's based on those things we talked about before. How many of your siblings are in college right now? What's your family size? What about the income of your family, etc.?
So when it comes to direct loans, there are different thresholds for eligibility. So incoming freshmen are eligible to receive a maximum of $5,500 a year. And when you bump up to sophomore, you're eligible for $6,500 for the year. And as a junior and senior, you're eligible for $7,500 for the year. The difference between student loans is there's one that's called subsidized and one that is called unsubsidized. So the subsidized means that there's no interest accruing until after college. And then the unsubsidized means that interest accrues while the student is in college. Both are fixed at 2.75% for the 2021 year and have a 6-month grace period after graduation, which means that you do not have to make payments on those loans until 6 months after you graduate. One thing to note about student loan eligibility is a lot of our students do come into UW Green Bay with college credits that they've earned in high school. That can actually give you a leg up on your level of credit load. So whether you come in as a freshman or a sophomore, it is possible that you could start school as a sophomore. So if that's something that would pertain to you, we'd want you to talk with our financial aid office so that we could award you the proper loan amount. Another type of aid that we have is called work study. So that is something that is need-based, which means that not every student will receive it. But should you receive it, it means that you are able to obtain a job on or off campus. You actually get a biweekly paycheck. The amount of money that you earn is what you can use for whatever you wish. So to live or for entertainment or to pay for your books or go towards your tuition. Work study is a dollar amount that you can earn, and it does not go directly to your college tuition bill.
I want to throw in there too, that's awesome, Bridget, thank you, that just because you don't get work study, let's say, because as Bridget said, it's need-based, if you don't get offered work study, that does not mean you cannot work on campus. There are a lot of jobs on all college and university campuses that don't require work study, that are paid just like any other part-time job. So although it might open some more doors for you to have work study, you should still have plenty of opportunities even if you're not awarded work study.
Absolutely. Thanks, Hannah. So scholarships, that's another place to definitely explore as far as offsetting the cost for college. One of the things that I always tell students is you absolutely will not receive a single scholarship if you don't fill out an application. So yes, you should apply. Here are some great resources of places to start with. Your parent's employer, ask them to ask their boss. A lot of people don't realize that their students may be eligible for scholarships based off the parent's employment. Other places are community resources. Of course, check out with your local Lions clubs, any clubs or organizations that you've been involved with, any community resource or community places that you've been a part of, your churches. Those are all great places to look into as well. At UW Green Bay, we have a new freshman scholarship that students can apply for as well. It's one application, and students are considered for several different scholarships if they're eligible. And then finally, there's internet searches, which I know can be very overwhelming. So it's a good idea just to kind of go from the UW Green Bay website for scholarships, where we do have additional places that you can explore. And that's a good starting point for more scholarships to look at.
Also, you guys, never pay to search for scholarships. All the resources that are on our website are legitimate, and you should never be paying $25 or $50 to get access to these different scholarships. So don't pay to search. Now, FAFSA completion. So this is what the FAFSA looks like. Just so you guys know, there are some other websites out there that are not really legitimate, that again, make you pay for the FAFSA, but remember the first F in FAFSA is free application. So this is what the current website looks like, and we put the web address there as well, if you want to get started or poke around and look at that website. Now, what do you need to file? I know that it might seem like there's a lot of things, but don't worry, we've got them all listed out for you. The first, you will need yours and your parents' social security number, and then also W-2 forms. if you did work, and then, for your parents, if they worked as well, you'll need those W-2s. And as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, this year, you would need your 2018 tax returns. But if you're applying for a future year, you just think back, whatever 2 years ago was, those are the tax information, the tax returns that we'll need. You'll need your driver's license information and a record of any income, savings, investments, farm assets, that kind of stuff. We'll need your date of birth. And then sometimes they might ask for your parents' marriage or divorce date. One thing I will say too, if you are confused at all about what you exactly need to provide for income and savings, what counts, what about this business and farm stuff, there's really nice little question marks throughout the FAFSA you can click on, and it gives you a big FAQ, or you can always reach out to our financial aid office or the school that you're applying to, their financial aid office, to get some more clarification on that. But if you sit down with all this information, you should be able to finish your FAFSA start to finish. Although if you have questions and you want to come back later, the great thing is you can save it, you can exit, and then you can log back in at a later time when you have the answers that you need. So let's talk a little bit about who's considered a parent, because I know that we all have different situations here at home and different people that we consider parents. So as far as the FAFSA is concerned, a parent would be, or parents are, two biological or adoptive parents, regardless of their marital status or gender. If those parents live together, it would be divorced or separated parents, or even step parents. So those people all consider, they fall under that parent category. People who are not considered parents for the FAFSA's sake would be your legal guardians, grandparents, any other relatives that the student lives with, or foster parents. So I want to talk a little bit more about divorced parents in case that's you, but I also want to say, if you're confused on any of this or aren't sure what to put, please do not hesitate to reach out to us, or again, the school that you're looking at for financial aid, because we want to make sure that you feel comfortable with the information you're putting in the FAFSA. But if you have divorced parents, here's a little bit of information about how you should, decide who to put in the FAFSA. You are going to want to provide information about the parent that you live with more. So if you're like, my parents' support for me truly is equal, just try and think of who provides just maybe a little bit more support, whether that's a parent who, they're equal, but one of them pays for my phone bill, or one of them pays for my car insurance. So, or whoever you live with more of the time, 51% or more. And then if that parent is remarried, so let's say you choose your mom, if she's remarried, you would also put your step parents' information in the FAFSA as well. And then when you're signing the FAFSA, at the very end, you're getting ready to submit it. It's more of a virtual signature, but basically we need you and your parent to sign the FAFSA, in air quotes there, with your FSA ID that you create before you start the FAFSA, and then your password. There is a way to physically sign it, but I'd say most students do this virtual signature. And just so you guys know, that FSA ID and password stays the same from year to year, so you'll use that every single year to log into the FAFSA and to sign it when you submit it. All right, now this handy thing called the IRS data retrieval tool, I know that's a mouthful, but basically, guys, when you're filling out the FAFSA and it asks for your tax information, I know it can be a little bit daunting to see all the different lines, things you have to put in, and you're looking at your return. This is a great tool that it basically connects the FAFSA with the IRS website, and most people can use it. Some people aren't eligible though, so it's okay if you can't. But if you're able to use this, it connects and it pulls your information from the IRS and imports it into the FAFSA. So you shouldn't have to type in every single answer line by line. And this tool becomes available about 2 weeks after you electronically file your taxes. So hopefully you're able to use that and make the FAFSA a little bit faster of a process. All right, and our school code. So every school has a school code. Ours is 003899, as you can see on the screen here. And just note, guys, this is our school code for Green Bay, Marinette, Manitowoc, and Sheboygan for all of our locations. When you fill out the FAFSA, you can actually put up to 10 schools in there. And you can either go on the school's website, look for their codes and type them in that way, or you don't have to know the code. You can search by state and by city and find the university, and then it will fill in the school code. So just know that you can have your FAFSA sent to up to 10 schools, although you only can get financial aid at one university or college. So even if you put 10 in there, whichever one you end up going to, that's the only place that you'll be taking out financial aid.
So as far as what you can expect after you have submitted the FAFSA, one of two things will happen. The financial aid office might reach out to you, or you might not hear anything until it's time for you to receive your offer letter in the mail. You should always be checking your email and postal mail, though, in case that financial aid office is trying to reach out to you. One thing that can happen for students is a process that's called verification. And I just want to assure you, you did nothing wrong. 30% of students are selected for verification. Basically, this means that the institution needs to gather a little bit more information from you in order to be able to put together your financial aid award. We will not be able to award you financial aid until whatever the financial aid office is asking for is provided. And at any time, if you're ever not sure what it is that we're asking for, you just need to give us a call. We are more than happy to help you figure out how to navigate the verification process. We promise it's not scary, and we'll walk you through every step of the way. So the timeline for financial aid, October is when the FAFSA becomes available, so actually October 1st. You can go ahead and fill out the FAFSA application. You shouldn't really expect to hear much though for a while, because most schools will start to bring in the FAFSA applications in November or December. That's when our financial aid office will start to review the FAFSA applications and make the determination of who else they need to receive more information from based off that 30% verification. In February is when you can expect to hear from the financial aid office with regards to your financial aid offer letter. This is something that is sent to you in the mail, and it is also going to be something that will be posted in your student information system that you'll be able to access. The offer letter, what it looks like is it basically will break down your total cost of attendance. So these are the things that you need to be concerned about paying towards your tuition bill, your room and board if you have that, your meal plan if you have that as well. So the offer letter will outline the estimated cost of attendance, and then it will also give you a breakdown of what you're eligible to receive. So this is where you'll see those numbers that might be part of grants, or numbers that might be part of student loans or work study. And we give you a simple breakdown to give you some math so you can see, do I have enough? Do I not have enough? What do I need to do next?
So we understand that after you get your financial aid offer letter, it might not cover everything, and you might need to look for some additional resources to help finance your education. So there are more options. There are other options. Number one would be an alternative loan. So in this scenario, you would be going to a bank or a credit union, hopefully somebody that you already know, that you trust, that you've done business with. In this scenario too, you, the student, would be the borrower. You'll probably need a cosigner just because of credit. The interest will vary depending on where you go. The terms of the loan might vary too, but those are some things that we always recommend looking for. Interest rates, repayment terms. We can't really recommend a specific place for you to go, but again, going with someone that you know and already do business with is a really good place to start, just to see what kind of options they have. Another option is the Parent Plus loan. For those that have heard of this is another federal loan option. So the way the Parent Plus loan works is your parent actually would fill out the application for this, and if they get approved, then they, the parent, would be able to take out some more loan money, but you'd be able to use it for school. The parent, though, they would be the borrower, so you can never really change it legally to have you be the borrower and get it switched over to your name, but you could make an agreement. Let's say your mom takes this out for you. She might say, okay, let's set up this agreement where you can pay me back. That would be something you can decide on your own time if you want to do, but that's kind of how the Parent Plus loan works if the parent gets approved. Now, if the parent fills out this application and does not get approved, then the school gets notified. So UW Green Bay would get notified, and then we might be able to offer you, the student, some more loan money in your own name. So that's kind of the way to unlock those additional funds if your parent applies for the Parent Plus loan and gets declined for it. So a couple of other options there. And then, of course, we always want you guys to know that, again, everybody's situation is so different. You might have a special circumstance that's not really talked about on the FAFSA. We give a good list here, like maybe a divorce or separation happened outside of the time frame that FAFSA is looking at. Maybe one of your parents lost their income or their benefits. Maybe you had like an influx, a special one-time income that's making it seem like you made a lot more than your family really did or normally does. If there was death or a disability of somebody in your family, any medical expenses or dental that weren't covered by your insurance, elementary, secondary school tuition that's not taken into account. There could be a lot of different things. So if this is you and you have something that you really want to share more about, although it is up to the discretion of each university what they're able to do, reach out to them. Reach out to our financial aid office and let us know. We'll see if we're able to use that information and re-examine your situation to re-award you your financial aid. But again, it depends on each school what they're willing and able to do. It never hurts to reach out though, so please do that if you have any questions. And as I just say that about questions, if you guys have any questions, I know this is recorded, we're not live with you, but Bridget and I are happy to answer anything you might want to know about UW Green Bay or finances, funding your education. We have a lot of really good resources. So we put our email right there. It's uwgb@uwgb.edu. We have the QR code here once again. If you liked what you saw today and want to learn more about Green Bay, we're happy to chat with you if you want to scan that and fill out the form. And then if you want to check us out on social media, our account is at UWGB Admissions, and we have a lot of really cool stuff on there, different deadlines, scholarship opportunities, see what life is like as a student at UW Green Bay. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we hope to hear from you soon.